Alright guys, today we've got a great matchup. We are going to be comparing 3 on-camera video mics head-to-head for sound quality, so stick around. Alright, so if you remember my last video, and if you haven't you might want to check it out, but I had reviewed the Comica CM14, which I thought was a very impressive microphone at the price they were selling it at, which was $99. It has since gone up significantly. That microphone is now $130. Now, if you are comparing it with other microphones of its niche, you know, the Video Mic NTG, something to that effect, the Deity has one also. That's very similar, but if you're comparing it in that range where that's the type of microphone that you'd like to get, you know, I would suggest looking a little bit deeper because it's no longer $99, it's now $130. I still think it has a great audio quality. You're actually listening to it right now. You know, I still think it's a great mic, you know, for the simplicity that it offers and the features that it offers. But anyway, let's move on. Today we have got 3 on-camera video mics. We have the Neewer CM14, which I've reviewed on this channel quite a while ago. That was a very long time ago that I reviewed that. Now, if we move up that price range, the second in the price range is going to be the Smallrig S20. Now, the Smallrig S20 you can get for about $40, but it offers a unique feature for that price. It actually includes with it a lapel mic that you can plug into the S20 body, into its 3.5 millimeter input, and it allows you to split those inputs off so that you have on the left, you know, on one of the tracks, you'll have the lapel mic, and then the other track is taking up the front-facing microphone. So that's actually a cool idea for interviewing, or I don't know, maybe you're trying to narrate a macro thing that you're recording and you want to pick up sound effects from the front. But that's a really great idea. You know, it's a different spin on the dual-sided microphones that are coming out now. There's a couple of models, and I have one of those coming up for review later. So that's the Smallrig S20. Now, as we move up the price chain, we get to the 7 rims MINBO M1. Now, the 7 rims MINBO M1 is actually another very uniquely featured microphone. Now, first of all, it is the most expensive in this lineup. But with the features it offers, I don't think it's very expensive at all. I bought it on sale for $59. It ranges in price there between $59 and $69. But what it offers uniquely is the ability to use it in dual capacity. You can either use it on your camera using the analog input into your camera, or you can actually use the included USB cable and connect it to your computer and use it as a USB microphone. So you could use like any other USB microphone. And when it does that, you can actually use the jack, the 3.5 millimeter jack, as a headphone output and do real-time monitoring with it. So that's a very unique feature, and for the price, I think that's a great deal, because the next closest competitor you're going to find to that is the new Video Mic Go 2 from Rode, and I think those are going for about $99 now, somewhere around there. And if you want to go up the price chain there, then you're looking at the Rode NTG or something to that effect. But so those are the 3 mics that we're featuring here. I'm going to go back after you hear the sound samples. I'll probably give you a little bit more detail about the mics and what I did and didn't like about them. And we'll close up there. But let's get into the sound samples now, all right? You're now listening to the Neewer CM14 video microphone. Now, the Neewer CM14 is the least expensive of all those being featured here, but also is the least featured Okay, so it's a very basic microphone. It's intended to be an add-on microphone to increase your sound quality over your onboard audio, and that's it. That's what it is. However, it does that very well. And you're listening to it now, recorded at a distance of about 2.5 feet from my mouth. And this is the sound quality of the Neewer CM14. Now let's switch off. You're now listening to the Smallrig S20 microphone. The Smallrig S20 will set you back about $40 on Amazon, and it is a relatively newcomer on the market. It's only been around for a couple of months that I know of. It does have a unique feature in that you can plug in the included lapel microphone into its 3.5 millimeter input and actually separate off the lapel microphone from the front-facing microphone, which is a very valuable feature for interviewers, for example. Now, let's switch off. All right, well, you're listening to the 7 Rims MINBO M1. We're listening to it at a vlogging distance of about 2.5 feet from my mouth. Now that's a pretty decent vlogging distance. It's actually probably longer than a decent vlogging distance for many people. I typically have long arms, but we're listening to the 7 Rims MINBO M1. Now, let's switch off. The Neewer CM14 microphone is probably the least full-featured microphone. It's very basic. You plug it into your camera to increase the sound quality of your onboard audio. It gives you a bit more throw. And I've reviewed it before on my channel, and it did very well. I was pretty impressed with it for the price that it was at. But this is the least expensive, but also the least feature-rich microphone in the lineup that we're doing here. You're now listening to the Smallrig S20 microphone. The Smallrig will set you back about $40 on Amazon, and it offers a unique feature that the other microphones don't have. You can actually plug in its included lapel microphone into the 3.5 millimeter input jack, and that will allow you to split off the tracks, say for an interviewer, wearing the lapel microphone versus the front-facing microphone, which is picking up your subject. You're now listening to the 7 Rims MINBO M1. The MINBO M1 can be purchased for about $64 on Amazon, and it's the most feature-packed of all the microphones that I'm reviewing here today. So you're getting a audio quality sample at about 2.5 feet from my mouth is the distance to the microphone that we have set up here today. Now, the 7 Rims represents the most feature-packed microphone that we have. The most notable feature being the ability to plug it in USB. However, we're not reviewing that function. We're reviewing apples to apples and reviewing the ability to just simply plug in analog into the camera and see what that native quality is. All right, well, there's your sound samples. So here's my take on these microphones. Like I said, the Neewer CM14 is the absolute bargain basement as far as cost goes, but I think the sound quality is absolutely stellar for the price they sell these things at. And to think that you can get a 2-pack of these at $30 and even ridiculously lower than that. I actually found them for $25 for the 2-pack with an additional 30% off coupon. So you might want to watch for those deals if you need to outfit multiple cameras. And what I actually use these mics for is I don't use them, I use them as backup tracks. I actually put them on the cameras and on my rigs, and so I have my main thing going, but things have happened in the past where my battery pack ran out on my main rig and things like that. And in that event, at least I have these that are always recording, and there'll always be a better sound quality than the onboard audio. So I try to have them available, and so I don't need to maintain batteries on them. Any of these mics, they're battery free. So That's one good thing about these mics. You know, again, you've got a proximity issue to worry about them, but again, they're always great to have as backup mics on your secondary cameras and stuff in case something happens on your primary audio recording rig. But that's the Neewer CM14. What I don't like about it is it doesn't have a shock mount. The mount that it has is actually very rigid, but it does work well. It's you know, and as I mentioned before, it's probably the most well-built and heaviest mic of this lineup. Now, when we get into the Smallrig S20, what I didn't like about this microphone, first and foremost, is the shock mount. I'm not sure you can call it a shock mount. I mean, there's a fine line between a weak, flimsy piece of plastic and a shock mount. And this thing, it was so flimsy that, you know, just the weight of the 1/8-inch cable hanging out of it caused it to kick off axis. And I found that to be incredibly annoying. And it's just one single little, you know, loop that it kind of mounts the microphone in there. And there's just not enough rigidity there to try and keep that thing stiff and on axis. So that's what I didn't like about the Smallrig. But other than that, for the price that it offered, I also thought it was a pretty decent mic. Now, when you get into the 7 rims, that feature set that at the price that it offers is quite impressive. You know, I can't really knock it. It seems to have a feature set that's great. You know, what it boils down to me is that you've got to figure out what your feature needs are. If you are simply looking to increase the audio quality on your onboard, over your onboard microphone, I think that of the 3 models being featured here, I think primarily my original choice would go to the Comica, which is not part of this review. But of these 3, I think that my choice is probably going to go to the Neewer CM14. At the price, you know, it has to get my award for best bang for the buck. And by saying that, I'm not saying that the other 2 mics aren't great. You know, but you've got to decide on your feature set there. But I am saying that if you just are looking to increase your audio quality without, you know, with paying as little as possible, I think you can rest assured in the Neewer CM14 purchase. Other than that, you know, again, the other mics are fantastic and they have more features, but again, I wanted to maintain an apples to apples review here. And so we may get into the features of those microphones independently later. But other than that, hope it was helpful, guys. Like and subscribe. I'm going to have more of these videos coming out, and I'll talk to you later.